Welcome to Better Life, Better Business, your go-to podcast for how you can grow your business, double your productivity and time off, work smarter and not harder. Brought to you by local business coaching expert Christoph Nauer, CEO of Balance 6 in Walnut Creek, California.
Welcome back to Better Life, Better Business. I'm Christoph Nauer, business coach and time management master with Balance 6. Today, we continue our series of interviewing business owners about not only what they do to help you with time and in your business, but how they are navigating the world of being an entrepreneur. I'm very happy today to have MerriLyn Gibbs on the call. She's the founder and owner of Assistance for Hire. Hi, MerriLyn. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Christoph. Great to be here. Thanks for asking me. It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. As you know, the purpose of my podcast is to provide excellent resources, helpful tips, tools, tricks to business owners. And that's exactly why I asked you to be a guest on my podcast today. Can you tell us and our listeners a little bit about what it is you do and what value you bring to business owners and entrepreneurs?
Happy to. So my company is called Assistance for Hire. And really what we specialize in is working with small business owners up to about 25 employees. At that point, they can do an internal position for admin and solopreneurs. So a lot of times we're the first person that a business owner is hiring onto their team. And I call it the should list. My job is to get your shoulds off your should list. What does that mean? Well, a lot of business owner conversations go like this. I should start organizing my email. I should follow up after I meet someone. I really should have more of a social media presence. I should start a newsletter. I should start creating events for myself. I really should have more time for the parts of the business I love doing. Those are all the people that I want to meet. And that's what we really do. We get all of their admin off their plate so they can focus on the parts of their business they love, have more time for themselves, more energy to do the parts of their business they love. And ultimately, when you're doing all of those things, you're just a happier person and you have time for all of the other things that you want to do, whether that's a good book to read or that long last trip you've been planning for the last 2 years, I guess, for many of us at this point. Or just the trip to the beach with your family.
MerriLyn, you totally speak my language. That's exactly some of the work I do with my clients, really focus on and prioritizing and not doing the things that can be done by somebody else. I love that. That's totally what really a big part of my business is all about. And so obviously there's an obvious reason why you're here and share that with our audience. What's one thing you wish you had known when you began your business?
Oh, I think what really resonates for me is time. A lot in my mind, I thought I'm going to become a business owner so that I have more control over my time. I can choose when I work, when I don't want to work. I'm going to be my own boss. But what really happens when you get in the throes of your business is that you work harder than you ever have. You get paid less than you ever have been paid. And you realize really fast the parts of your business that you don't love doing or you really did not know you even needed to do when you started. So I think I've said it before and I really mean it. If I knew how hard it was to have started my business, I may have not done it. However, what happened for me is that I really fell in love with being my own boss and getting to control the growth, how my business runs, what happens next. And of course, I learned very quickly how to delegate, which then became my expertise in helping other clients do as well.
Yes, that's pretty much your business, right?
It definitely is. And I do practice what I preach. Absolutely, 100%.
True that. Yeah, that quite often happens too when I catch myself, not having get something done or forgetting about something done, I have to like, how come this happened? Well, I didn't put it on my calendar, you know. And this is the stuff I
Right?
talk to my clients about. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done, you know. And so sometimes I just catch myself. I'm violating my own rules, you know.
We're all human too. I mean,
Exactly.
being human, you forget things. You do get to the end of the day where your brain doesn't work anymore and you simply just don't follow your own process.
Yeah.
So
That is so true. What is your biggest challenge right now?
my biggest challenge right now, that's a great question. I'm really trying to walk into the sphere of creating events. It's really a passion project for me more than thinking about revenue or generating revenue. It's my desire to give back my skill sets to a larger whole, a community that can then use them for their own use and be more efficient overall. And it's been a little challenging. It's hit and miss whether I get a lot of people in my events or not in my events. And so navigating how do I market those? How do I create more engagement? How do I create an event that someone really wants to participate in is my biggest challenge right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that you're definitely not alone. Those are the biggest challenges is how to get, the saying goes, how to get butts in the seat, you know? Yeah. So what are some of the best resources that have helped you along the way to get to where you are today?
Well, I first of all, just the background, my experience in general, which is interesting. I was a university women's golf coach and a PGA golf professional for 16 years. And, intuitively, you're like, how does that correlate? But that experience really taught me a lot of things. When you're a golf coach, you really have a lot of hats. I was fundraising. I was recruiting my team. I was creating tournaments and planning tournaments. I was organizing travel. I was organizing efficient team practices and workouts. I had to create a schedule that worked for my team to create the most efficiency we possibly could in a very short amount of time that the NCAA allows to become champions. And that background really prepared me to what I'm doing now. And second of all, when I jumped into the business owner world, I was like many people. I had no real training. I didn't have a mentor. I wrote a business plan. I jumped ship from my previous career, moved to New York City and started a brand new business. So you can tell that I was really jumping off a pretty large cliff. However, I found an organization called National Association of Women Business Owners. It's NABO. And I became a member immediately. I also joined their volunteer committee within 3 weeks of opening my business. And what I found there was a consistent mastermind. It was a monthly event that then helped me network with other women business owners, and they became a plethora of information for me. I also have two very good friends. One owns her own business in San Diego for 11 years now, who has a marketing company, and a very good friend of mine who's a strategic planner for starting businesses. And both of them were my sounding board, at least on a weekly basis. I had a 1.5-year weekly call with my friend Emil over in Chicago, who's a strategic planner, to help me navigate what my next moves were and how to run my own business. So I will be indebted to all of those people that helped me along the way.
That's so wonderful to hear, because it does take a network to do this. You can't do it all on your own. And so having a network and people to help you is fantastic. And that whole idea of mastermind is old. I mean, that goes back to Napoleon Hill and maybe even further, So that makes perfect sense to me. As a faithful listener, I'm sure you're familiar with the episodes I did on delegating, prioritizing, We discussed the 80-20 rule, the ABCDE method that my mentor and trainer, Brian Tracy, embraces. We talked about proactive procrastination. Procrastination shouldn't be something we do, but proactive procrastination is a whole different ballgame. So how do you prioritize in your business?
That is a great question. And really, for me, there's a lot of routine. I believe in processes. I believe in creating consistency in what you do. And so kind of my method to my madness is, one, have a consistent planning session. I spend Monday morning planning my entire week for myself and for my team. And I use the workflow management software called Asana, which I absolutely love. And it's very user-friendly and easy to use. So I spend Monday mornings doing all my admin, planning my week for myself and my team, doing all my invoicing, payroll, and anything that needs to be business-wise created for my week. Then I go through my calendar religiously. I'm looking at when are my timeframes for work production, work blocks for my own business, because I do consistently work on my own business with planning and up-leveling my own website. I write my own blog still once a month. So I'm looking at my schedule and planning when those gaps are going to happen and what my call system looks like. I also do a morning, week, month, daily planning. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I look at my schedule and figure out where the gaps are and when I'm going to create my own time for 1, meditation, 2, exercise, and 3, breaks, so that I can have the energy to get through my day. And then where am I going to have my work blocks? So that's super important to me. And I'd say that really is how I stay organized and how I really feel like I can stay in flow. It doesn't always work. We all know that there's always, life happens. I have a 5-year-old. She likes to interfere with my plans a lot.
That's her job.
But what I found is when I do the same thing with her in the morning, I show her my calendar and where her breaks are and where she gets time, which I also plan into my day where she gets time with me. It also really works and it flows really well for both of us.
Wow, congratulations. You're probably ahead of the majority of business owners. That is fantastic. What you just said, pretty much everything is some of the work I do with my clients. Having a schedule, developing a morning routine. 1 minute of planning can save you 10 minutes in execution. People telling me, oh, I don't have time to schedule. I don't have time to plan. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to look at the bigger picture here, So what you just described, I think, is incredibly useful, incredibly helpful. Listeners, pay attention to MerriLyn. This is fantastic. There's not just one way of doing that, but she incorporates all the stuff that are critically important in her planning and her scheduling. Personal time for herself, workout time with family, all that stuff is absolutely critical. So
Thanks, Christoph. I'm feel like I'm blushing right now.
No, but seriously, this is wonderful. I mean, it's when I talk to business owners, few and far have that kind of organization and plan in place. Well, and that's fortunate for me, because otherwise I'd be out of business, If everybody was as organized as you, my goodness, I would have a job. But no, this is good to hear. And it kind of, again, what it does, it reinforces the things I work on with my clients. That's why you were running a successful business. I think you just told me you had to hire another person. Again, I think number 7, right?
Yes.
There's a reason for that, So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I think this is absolutely fantastic. And listeners, please pay attention to MerriLyn, okay? So switching gears a little bit, you may know that only about 3% of people have written goals for their business and their lives. Talking to you, I'm pretty sure you're part of the 3%. How do you handle goal setting?
Great question as well. I do. I write my goals every year, and I could show you what those look like. I have one set for my business goals. I start with the big goal at the very top of the list. I then create 3 subsequential goals that I think are going to get me there. And then I break down that to at least 3 to 5 in smaller goals that are kind of nugget size that I know I can accomplish to get to my bigger goals. It's pretty extensive, and I do add to it, and I do look at it on a monthly basis to see where I am, and check it off. And there's lots of them right now that say in progress or done. And I do the same thing for my personal life. So that's a yearly activity for me. I do my personal goals on my birthday, September 22nd.
Oh, okay.
I do that every September, and I do my business goals at the beginning of the year in January. And this year, I got my fiance on board. I made him do goals with me. So I shared my goal setting with him and created them with him, which was really fun.
Wonderful. So was that a first for him?
I don't think he's ever written them down so specifically. He is pretty good at being driven and knowing what he wants. However, I do think that's the most formalization he's ever done.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it doesn't surprise me after the conversation that we've been having. That's, this is incredible. And this is, again, stuff that I talk to my clients about, not just writing them down, but then visiting them, on a regular basis. How am I doing? Do I need to adjust certain things? Do I need to move up something, or where am I? How am I doing? All that kind of stuff. So thank you for that. As you know, as a faithful listener, my business name is Balance 6. And the 6 that we should balance, in my opinion, are time, money, health, relationship, self-improvement, and higher power or spirituality. So, MerriLyn, I can imagine which you want to talk about and share some insights with our listeners, but I'll let you pick it.
Of course, it's time, Christoph, because to me, time is the blanket for all of the other items. If you can manage your time well and create pockets of time, then you have time to do all the other 5, correct?
Yes.
So that's how I look at it. To me, it's really about making time for the things that are most important. And I mean, I could show you my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen, but really it's color coordinated by the different things. There is a weekly block on Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for golf, because that's one of my highest passions. And that's what gets me the energy to do a lot of the other things that I love doing. There's also workout blocks. There's also meditation blocks. There's lunch blocks. There's work blocks. There's, my fiance's gotten very good at accepting my calendar invitations, because now there's a date night on the list. There is all kinds of things on there. I even created one for him, which is his study time. His Zen is when he gets to spend 2 hours or more doing research on quantum physics. So I created a block for that so that I make sure I don't interfere with his favorite thing to do. Wow. So it's just really important to me that time is the essence of everything else. You can make time for your spirituality, for your self-care, with time.
Yes. No, it's wonderful. Yes, you're absolutely right. Warren Buffett says, I can buy anything in the world I want except time.
It's true.
And that's the same for all of us. We cannot make time. And I love what you said. You block out time for golfing, because that gives you energy, that recharges your batteries, and you give yourself 6 hours. Listeners, did you hear that? MerriLyn gives herself 6 hours of golfing a week, and she's still running a very, very successful business. So we all have time to do something like that for ourselves. So I think you just reinforcing everything I work on with my clients. So thank you very much.
My
You
pleasure.
talked a little bit
And
about.
you'll send the check in the mail later, right, Christoph?
Absolutely.
Paid me to say all of it. No, just joking.
Yeah, no. It's wonderful to hear that too, because it kind of reinforces in the firms in the things I work on with my clients. You already mentioned a few people who were influential to you as you were, getting to where you are today. Are there some others that you can think of that you would like to add?
I just think anyone who has supported me along the way. I mean, right now, I started my business as a single mother, moved here to New York with a 16-month-old baby, and do have joint custody with her father. So I do have 50% custody. So I did have that gift, that I had 50% of the time to work only on my business. But the other 50% of the time was completely on my own. And, the things that I'm realizing now as a partner, having a partner, is that, for instance, right now, my 5-year-old is at the park right now. If this would have been a year ago without living with a partner, I would have had to muzzle my child, strap her down in the bed in the other room, shut the door.
No, we would not have done that.
I would have not done any of those things, but I would have had definitely the challenge of the concern and the worry that this type of a broadcast would be interrupted. I would do my best to keep her in the other room with her iPad and her stock full of supply food, which that's how I used to run these all the time. I would give her her buffet of food and all of her toys and her pad and hope that I wouldn't be interrupted. But just the small things like this, that's just having a partner right now. So I want to shout out to my fiance, Shadow, because he really has made my life so much easier.
Yes, and I always admire single parents. I mean, I don't know. We have 3 grown kids, and there's no way I could have done this without my wife. It takes 2, and sometimes it would take 3 and 4 or 5 to raise kids. And for people to do that on their own, I don't know. I have clients who are single moms and entrepreneurs. So I'm admiring them. And that's incredible, and you did it. I mean, you did have, you did it with your daughter,
I did.
It's possible,
It is. It really is. I do want to, if you don't mind, I just want to put one thing out there that I think I know that it was important to me to remember, that it doesn't have to be perfect. I
Thank you.
took a 2-year-old to networking events consistently for 3 years. She has walked into the middle of a vodcast just like this and jumped on the back of the couch. It really just doesn't have to be perfect. If
No.
you're doing the best you can, and really just the consistency and the determination, you can do it.
Yes.
I even got to the gym. I got to the gym 3 days a week. So you can do it.
Yes. And thank you for saying that. I think that I always talk about that as well. I mean, nobody's perfect, and plus it brings a humanness to the picture. We're all human. And yes, we have kids, and having kids is a blessing. And I know a lot of work, sure, but it's a blessing. If I was young, I would do it again, but that's part of who we are. And in perfectionism, and where there's no room for a child's laughter or a child's interruption, is a very, very sorry world, So anyway, I'm perfectly fine. And yes, and if your daughter had jumped in and said, "Hey, mom," whatever, hey, that's perfectly fine. I was not talking about those kinds of interruptions. So after this conversation, I am sure our listener can't wait to connect with you, MerriLyn. How can they find you online?
So really, the easiest way to find me is Google my name. My name is very unique and there's not another one of me. So it's MerriLyn, MERRI, capital LYN, space Gibbs, GIBBS. If you Google that, you're going to get our website, which is assistance with the number 4 hire.net. You'll also get my LinkedIn profile. You'll get several of our Eventbrites that we've posted, and you'll even get some of the speaking engagements I've been participating in the last year or so. So that's it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, MerriLyn, for having a conversation with us and our listeners and sharing some of your incredible insight with the audience. I'm so glad I talked to you because you just absolutely affirms everything that I do and what you're doing and how you got to be such a successful business owner. Please follow MerriLyn's advice. And as always, thank you to our viewers for joining us. If you or someone you know would like some guidance in finding balance and success like MerriLyn has, make sure to check out my website, balance6.biz. You can learn more about myself there, and you can also get my free report, 5 Secrets for Putting Your Business Growth on Autopilot. Once again, thanks for watching. I'm Christoph Nauer, your Business and Brian Tracy Certified Time Management Master. Until next time. This week's episode of Better Life, Better Business is brought to you by CA&C Video Productions. Since 1985, CA&C Video has been providing live streaming, event production, and analog to digital transfer services. They capture those life-changing moments, preserving your history for current and future generations. Because your history matters. Visit their website at cacvideo.com. Thank you so much for your sponsorship.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to another episode of Better Life, Better Business with business and time management coach Christoph Nauer with Balance 6, the leading business and time management company in Northern California. Visit them at balance6.biz.